Hey, what's up everybody? Joshua Casper back at you with Plugin Boutique, and I'm really excited to let you know that we now have Freakshow industry plugins available on pluginboutique.com. In this video, I'm just going to give you a brief introduction to the 3 plugins that are currently available. You can see them on the screen here, and before we even jump into anything about them, just admire the beauty. I mean, these 2 in particular just look so good, and as you actually flip through the different parameters, this updates over here, like this whole thing updates as well. I mean, it just looks so good. It looks so cool. And beyond that, if you're someone who likes sound design, if you're someone who likes to mangle audio and get really interesting results, then these plugins are for you. So let's just go ahead and jump into the 3 of them and get kind of a brief overview of what they do. I'm going to start with Mishby. This is one of the more complex ones that they have, and I have it here on my drum bus. One of the things that's really cool about this company, beyond the fact that the design aesthetic is awesome, is this is the manual right here. And as I hover over parameters, you'll see that it's updated. But if you actually read down there what it says, it's still kind of, for some parameters, it still keeps you in the dark. You can see here it says device, cassette, distortion. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. But then it says, Father has exposed a control that can distort my tape circuits. Father says it will hurt, but this is okay because I must embrace my shame if I am to complete my becoming. Every parameter is like that in all of the different plugins, just to keep that in mind. But I don't think you should jump in there. I really think you should jump in and just tweak all of the parameters. And if you hear it doing something to whatever sound you're processing and you like it, keep it. So anyway, we have the tape quality over here. And I've got the drum bus solo. Let's just go ahead and bypass it for a second. So they're already pretty crunchy, but let's turn on Mishby. Let's pull down everything, distortion and so on. Let's turn this off as well. Make sure this is all up. Okay, so this is tape quality. And as we reduce tape quality, it's kind of rolling off the top end there, probably adding a little bit of saturation. And I love how it's kind of backwards here. The upside down face is kind of like 100% quality, and then it gets happier as the quality decreases. Love it. Anyway, so that's that. And then we have 2 different types of distortion here. They both sound phenomenal. The upper frequency characteristics that these add to these drums in particular just sound so crunchy and good. And then we have a noise. And that's just either on or off and whatever level you want. Moving from there is the self-care slider. And again, you can refer to the manual here, but let's just listen to what it does to the drums. So, I mean, you know, if you're going for a breakdown or a build up using the self-care lever, it's going to really do it. Also, the animation is just so cool. From there, we have a bit crusher. Again, sounds really, really nice. And down here, we actually have some glitching controls. So again, Mishby and all of the other plugins from Freakshow Industry really mangle the sound if you're trying to do that sort of thing. And then we have these really cool desync control, which kind of acts like tape running through a player. But one thing that it really has on top of that is that you can do it on the individual bands at different rates. So first of all, the delta is kind of the dry wet here. And also, as I tweak all of these parameters, you can keep an eye on the animation down here as well. But if I turn this up, You can hear how the frequencies are kind of being distorted there by slowing down and speeding up. And this is the rate control right here, which is how fast that fluctuation will happen. So while this doesn't really work that well on drums, I'm sure you have, a bunch of things in mind which can really benefit from something like that. And as I was saying, you can actually do that to the higher frequencies. So having the control to manipulate the low, mids, and high frequencies differently, you desync them differently than sort of the main desynced processing that's going on, is a really, really cool feature. So that's Mishby. We also have something lovingly called Dumpster Fire, and this is crazy. Let's just put this on for a second. So this is the original sound. Again, already pretty cool. Let me turn it up. But then when I process it with Dumpster Fire with these parameters, really, really cool results. So again, if you click the eyeball, it will give you some information. This kind of has the highlighted bits that are important. This sets the number of bands. This rotates the pitches. Over here we have the pitch spread and the time spread. And then we have the Aether. I don't know how to pronounce that, but this generates hellscapes is the general takeaway from this one. So let's just tweak these out on this and see what we can determine. And again, it rotates as you move this knob. It's so cool. So we can get really, really dark. And really, really pitch it up right there with that main knob. So this is obviously some sort of pitch shifter that can get some really, really interesting results with pitched material. And even on drums, I tried it on some drums earlier. Even in the features section of their website, it says, understand none of this. It doesn't matter, after describing the features of this plugin. And it says also at the end, please stop reading. So again, I don't think exactly what these knobs are doing is what's important here. It's what's happening to the sound and whether or not it works for your project. So that's Dumpster Fire. And then finally, we've got Backtrack. And this is a kind of like a reverser plugin that's pretty cool. And in fact, I have it on these kind of pads. But let's take it and put it on the drum so we can hear it a little bit better. This is the dry wet. I'm going to turn it up. Okay, so this one is a little bit more helpful when you click the info button because we can see we're either going to reverse all, reverse alternating, or reverse random. And then these are the trigger methods. So we can do it by milliseconds, and this is where you can actually change how quickly that is. You'll see the milliseconds here. And then you can actually boost up the range. So if I'm all the way up here, I can see it's 2,000 milliseconds, or now it's 1,000, or now it's 500 if you're really trying to get to a specific point in time. You can also trigger by note value. That's just synced instead of milliseconds. And then one thing that's really cool is this is the threshold control for when you trigger on level. So if the audio passes a certain threshold, the reversing effect will be triggered. It's really cool if you're on the trigger by no value or trigger by milliseconds, it will say no, quite pleasantly say nope. And then if you're on trigger by, when the audio crosses the threshold, you can set that right here. So something cool I would like to do with this on drums, for example, is I would set sort of my parameters here, maybe have it trigger random on a millisecond by milliseconds by time, and maybe just pull down the wet mix just a tad. And then what I do inside of Ableton Live would be to come in and then just modulate or automate the device on for the fills, for example. So right here, right here, right here, and right here. So you can hear how it's adding just a little bit more character to the fills there. So again, all three of these plugins are incredible at really just damaging sound. I mean, in the best way possible, of course. And if you're someone who likes experimental music or experimental sound design, these are three plugins that you definitely want to check out. So that's it. This is a pretty long video because I wanted to showcase all three of them. As I said, we just put them on the website, so definitely go check them out. And if there's anything specific you want to know about any one of the three plugins, leave them in the video description and I will try to hit you back and let you know there in the comments or make a video about it in the future. Anyway, I'm Joshua Casper here for Plugin Boutique. I hope you learned something and I'll see you in the next video.